Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. All who wander are not lost. That is the case for the eternal challenger, Wulfric the Wanderer. Today he faces off against the Greenskins in this Warhammer World Championship matchup between Lumieré on the Norskins, and we have Supermunchkin playing the Greenskins. So for the Norscan roster, it is going to be Marauders for that front line. There is going to be some Marauder Berserkers on the far flanks, looking to really chew through those Greenskin troops as quickly as possible to get into that juicy backline. And then for the mobility, it is going to be some some skin wolves as well. Going to be coming on through with their regen, bonus versus large, and they'll do quite well at dealing with the greenskin counter skirmish, considering they can just pretty much absorb that shot, heal through it all, and then keep right on chugging. For Lord, it is of course Wulfric the Wanderer, and he is going to be bringing Seafang, Foe Seeker, and Hunter of Champions. We do have Ephemeral Balefien of Fire, going to be bringing Fireball and Burning Head as well. And then there is going to be, of course, those Mist Stalkers who have stock themselves. They have that nice little bit of missile resist from the mist, and then they have the Fear and Terror as well. For the skirmishers on the Norscan side, it is going to be a pair of horsemen as well. Not really going to be able to trade against the volume of fire that is the Greenskin skirmish. So let's head over to that, and we could start going over what they've got to offer. So Morgrim's Magi Marauders and 3 Forest Goblin Spider Riders as well. So they're going to be coming in. They definitely are going to be able to out skirmish these Marauder horsemen. They are just regular horsemen. They only have 15 armor. Not really going to be able to hold up against the poison and the armor piercing, especially from the Morgrim's Magi Marauders. So that'll be very, very careful, kind of look their attention elsewhere, and then kind of just use the Skin Wolves to screen things out early on in the fight. We do have some more Force Goblin Spider Riders, the melee variant on the far flank, as well as some of the Orc Boar Boys, providing the mobility for the Greenskins, in addition to another unit on the far left flank of the Greenskins. For the rest of the Greenskin army, it is going to be some Orc Boys mixed in with the Night Goblins ROR, so that is going to be the 8-peak loonies there. They are unbreakable. They have their nice little fanatics, and they are going to be doing quite a lot of good work against the Norscan infantry. Otherwise, Savage Orc Biggins on the far flank, and then there's going to be quite a bit of archers, which is pretty common for the Greenskins to go for. So they have some Orc Air Boys. We have the Rusty Arrows to really whittle down the armor with their armor sundering, and then we have some Orc Air Boys as well, just kind of spread all the way throughout. So 5 total in archers, and then for the Lord, it is going to be Skarsnik. He's going to be coming in with that fermented fungi, which will be able to rampage any of those really large targets and reduce their melee defense in the process. We do have Spite of the Bad Moon, giving a nice little bit of armor piercing, PS damage, and bonus versus large. And against Norsca, that bonus versus large will be quite useful indeed. And then we have a Giant River Troll Hag, bringing Spirit Leech. It looks like we got Soul Blight as well mixed in there, Power Stone, and Mither for some more further battlefield control. But that is going to be it for the armies, so let's get things rolling, as the initial skirmish is already under play here, as the Greenskins just going to continue firing in, and the Skin Wolves are going to be pushing to the front of that line, going to be trying to keep those guys back from firing too much into the rest of their units. They really do want to keep their horsemen safe, and Wulfric doesn't want to be taking too many shots, but all these units are going to be having shields. The Berserkers probably definitely want to be pulling it back just a little bit, don't want to be taking too much of that initial shots, and the Greenskins definitely would like to kind of get around, start pressuring the back line of the Norskins here, start moving their cavalry, the rest of their fast movers around, which they're going to be starting to do a little bit. They do have to be mindful, of course, of the Skin Wolves. They don't want to be countercharged or charged at all from those guys. They will make quick work of those Orc Boar Boys with their own bonus versus large. Otherwise, they did buy just enough time, though, for the rest of the Norscan forces to start getting close to that frontline engagement. And they are going to have to worry about all of these Orc Arrow Boys, though, that are going to be sitting up on this hill. There's a lot of archer fire that can be going the way of a lot of different units, and enough focus fire will be able to break through. Marauders, they only do have their bronze shield, which isn't really going to be able to hold up too well, and they only have 15 armor, so they are going to be getting lit up by all of these units. We do have a Seafang going to be going right down the line. A beautiful cast. They're doing a ton of damage to those Night Goblins, going to be putting them down below that threshold, so we're not going to be seeing even a single one of their fanatics cast this match. A very good heads-up play by Norsca there, making sure that is going to be taken out of the fight very early on. And here's a burning head as well, going to be going right down the line. These rusty arrows going to be seeing that, and they're going to be moving out of the way. So just doing a little bit of damage to those orc arrow boys, but it will continue along its way and even doing some damage to these 4 Scum Spider Riders as it goes right through their unit as well. But now the front line is going to be going off in earnest. The orc boys going to be supporting that front line as best they can, but these Miststalkers are going to be a bit of a problem because they are going to be terror routing a lot of this front line here. And with all of that infantry getting broken so very quickly, these Savage Orc Biggins, though, were able to catch out these Marauder Horsemen on that flank. But in comes Wulfric now that a lot of the support has been either dealt with or had their attention turned elsewhere. So now he is going to be able to come on in. He is charging that Giant River Troll Hag. There is Get Back here going to be cast, and Skarsnik did get Hunter of Champions. But Wulfric definitely is going to be turning his attention to the spell casting instead. But now that they kind of pulled through, he does have the Skin Wolves ahead in that department, so he can very easily probably turn and deal with Skarsnik. I mean, Skarsnik is technically bonus versus large, but he is still a little small lord, and Wulfric can do quite a bit of a number on him. The wad does go off, though, giving everything a nice little bit of armor-piercing weapon-based damage, and of course it does also give immune to psychology, which is going to be nice considering there is a Miststalker and a big ol' scary mammoth on the field trying to keep things in play. We have another burning head, this time going to be going right through these orc boys and going to be clipping these Savage Orcs as well, and is going to be followed up by another pendulum as well. Just as the fermented fungi does go off, it still gets a nice little cast off. So he is going to be rampage, but there's nothing too worrisome about what is around at this time. There is still quite a bit of ammunition on all these archers, so if they are able to kind of pull back, regroup themselves, start firing on in, they might be able to kind of pull through, because I mean, you got a lot of these units have taken quite a bit of damage, at the same time, the Skin Wolves, the Miststalkers in particular, and Wulfric is very healthy, and I think at this point there isn't enough space left for the Greenskins to really take down Wulfric. All of these regenerating Skin Wolves and the Miststalkers, those are just going to be too much to deal with, I think, at this point, and especially if the Greenskins do lose Skarsnik here, that is going to be pretty much that all she wrote is with the loss of their lord and getting pushed back and back so close to the white line now. They don't have a whole lot of space to just continually kite away, and the mobility of the Skin Wolves winning out against the mobility of the Greenskins here. So we do have some orc boys on the far flanks trying to clean up some infantry, but they're not going to be able to keep all of their archers safe for long enough. I mean, these guys are around too, but the Skin Wolves, so it's going to be either the Skin Wolves or the Mammoths getting into all of these archers, and the archers is pretty much what's left to deal with Wulfric. He is getting kind of low on health, and he's kind of a false flag there, because he still has 5k HP, and a burning head going through the even more of that mobility and range units of the Greenskins, and Skarsnik just in such a bad spot right now. Wulfric is going to be putting on a major hurt onto him as another Sea Fang does go through this unit of orc boys, air boys, and with the addition of these Skin Wolves to the fight in the back pocket here, I think that is going to be pretty much it for all of those archers. Going to be getting compromised, especially being the rusty arrows. And yeah, Skarsnik and that Giant River Troll Hag not going to be able to hold back against all of these units here. He does get rampage once again, but I mean, at this point, not really going to matter too much. He might take a little bit of extra damage, but he is able to rout both of Skarsnik and that Giant River Troll Hag, and with them both gone and enough mobility left to ensure that they do get kind of pushed off the edge of the map here, I think that is going to be curtains for the Greenskins. The Skin Wolves able to kind of really clean up in that backline. Even the Familiar Belfiend is getting his hands dirty, kind of making sure all these range units are shut down, especially now considering both the Giant River Troll Hag and Skarsnik is off the field. That Familiar Belfiend doesn't really have a whole lot to worry about. He does have some of these Orc Boar boys, Savage Orc Biggins, but they're also very low, and fear and terror is going to be so prevalent here for that Norscan side in the late game with the Miststalkers and of course Wulfric on his Mammoth. He is going to be trying to make sure that Giant River Troll Hag does stay off the field, considering she does have regen. If she does come back, she does have quite a bit of healing left. But again, I think the time is not on the Greenskin side here, as pretty much everything getting pushed off, and there is going to be army losses, and Norsca does pull through in this first match. Let's take a look at the after battle report here. And for the Greenskins, we'll go over their results fairly quickly. The Savage Orc Biggins did do very well, getting almost over 1,000 value, 1,200 on this one. They do quite well against skin wolves, as well as pretty much most of the infantry for the Norskins. They are very, very strong, and that a little extra physical resist does help against anything that really isn't the Miststalkers. And Miststalkers really, they'd have better targets than those Savage Orc Beacons, so they don't really have to worry too much about that getting bypassed. But they do, of course, have that burning heads, which need to be pretty careful of with their very, very low armor, 0 in fact. And then for the rest of the forces, unfortunately, Fanatics got their selves sea-fanged pretty early on, so that put them immediately below that 25% threshold that they need for those Fanatics. And then for the rest of the forces here, not really doing all so well. Even the archers not able to really perform well enough, and they did have quite a bit of ammunition left. The front line just buckled so very fast to the Norscan side, and even the Lords in here is not doing all too hot. Now for the Norskins, their Skin Wolves doing very well this match, able to stay nice and healthy and make sure all of the mobility on the Greenskins got taken care of. The Horsemen, not really all too good. I generally prefer Horse Masters, considering they do get that little bit of extra armor, and that armor is very helpful against the very low armor piercing values of the Greenskin Skirmish Cav, which is the Force Gone Spider Riders. I mean, you do have the Morgul's Mangy Marauders who can do a little bit more damage, but overall I still prefer Horse Masters over the Horsemen in most cases. Otherwise, the rest of the forces infantry really didn't do all too hot. This one actually did pretty decently. They just broke through so fast, and then once all of that was gone, I think it was just maybe a little too light on the infantry department. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of extra range or extra space to add a few more things. Maybe drop a Forest Goblin Spider Rider for a little bit of extra frontline width, but otherwise the Burning Head's very on point. Not really generating a ton of damage. The Orc Arrow Boys do have a fairly spread out formation, so they are able to weather that storm just a little bit better than most archer units would. And then Wulfric the Wanderer getting 1700 in value, providing that Fear Terror monstrous unit. He was kind of a bit of a pincushion, but at the same time he was able to deal with Skarsnik and the Giant Ritual Hike fairly easily. But that is going to be all she wrote for today, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.